My name is Aghari Krishnadas, and I came to Krishna Consciousness while I was at WITS. I was interested in astral body travel, and there was a poster that was being advertised which had astral body projections. And so I went there, and when I was asking the questions, like, okay, when are we going to start discussing what I'm here for? They told me that astral body projection, out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences are within the science of self-realization. So I was taken aback. I really like the English language and words. And so I was really impressed by the vocabulary that these persons were using. And so they introduced to me this book by the name of the Bhagavad Gita. There were also several books, Science of Self-Realization. Actually, when I think about it, the first book I did read was The Science of Self-Realization, and there was a anecdote which was called the what is it? Beauty?
Liquid beauty.
Yeah, Liquid Beauty. Yeah. So I was very impressed by that because I also am enamored by physical beauty, like all men. In the peak of the hormone cycle, I was 19 at the time. And so I was impressed by the message. But I think the book that made in my early days, the book that made the greatest impression was the Bhagavad Gita. Particularly the introduction was very powerful. Prabhupada, there he defines the absolute as where there's no difference between the reference and the referent. And so I really like that description of the absolute truth. And also just the questions that the Bhagavad Gita would answer. The relationship between, so the 5 subject matters that the Bhagavad Gita deals with, the living entity, the relationship that the living entity has with nature and the environment, the relationship he or she has with God, other living entities, and yes, as well as the time factor. So the way Prabhupada just summarized the whole Bhagavad Gita in that very powerful introduction was very powerful. Different concepts such as Sanatana Dharma, that Sanatana Dharma is not like a religious type of faith, but it's actually a characteristic, it's an ontological characteristic of the living entity. Just as liquidity is a characteristic of water, or sweetness is a characteristic of sugar. So similarly, service is a characteristic of any sentient being. And when you observe it, it's just a fact. So reading the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada was speaking about things that can be readily observed, even though he would use technical Sanskrit terms, which precisely describe what he was talking about. But even without any background in these technical Sanskrit spiritual terms, still the content was highly impressive. And so, yes, I recommend the Bhagavad Gita to all those who are interested in the science of self-realization.